if I might have your attention, please. We're going to resume the second part of our forum. We're going to begin with a question to Mr. Kinsley first. If you would please describe your experience, governmental or otherwise, that qualifies you to hold the office to which you seek.
And work with you to make decisions for the betterment of the citizens and the community. My governmental experience is zero as far as job holding. However, throughout my business career, which lasted about 30 years, I assumed jobs and major responsibility to be a company. So that was the bottom line, responsible for human resources for 1,500 to 2,000 individuals, hiring, finding the best, training, etc. You know, responsible for business development. I may go to big corporations, convince them to do business with us. We have made a compelling case for successful. Now, obviously, three, I've had to deal with multi-billion-dollar budgets. I said the word billion because we've had inventories of dollars and assets in excess of billions. I know about budgets. I know where to cut. I know where not to cut. I know how to potentially raise revenues in some ways. But again, not in government. With the VP money coming, I think having those financial skills would be a real plus. I've been actively involved in the community, so I'm not someone who's kind of stepped in town and said, look at me, I want to be the city commissioner. And that's why I'm running. It's not the case. I think I have skills and experience in leadership that will help the commission make better decisions. Right now you have 5 commissioners. I always have diversity in that commission. I wasn't born here, I haven't lived here forever, I have different experiences. And I think that diversity will help them, help you become a better community.
Can you hear me now? I have 48 combined years of working in local government. I was employed with the Franklin County Board of County Commissioners for 30 years. 21 of those years, I headed up the Department of Solid Waste, Recycling, and Animal Control. I oversaw 3 budgets and the employees of those departments. And I did that at the same time that I was running the city, and that I didn't have any hiccups. So when you combine my county experience with my city experience, I've been on the commission for 18 years, 10 of those years as a city commissioner, 4 of those 10 years as your mayor pro tem. And I had all that under my belt before I even decided to run for mayor.
Well, when I went down and I got the package to qualify to run for office, which basically meant filling out some forms and paying city money, I noticed that the qualifications to run for office are that you are 18 years old or older and that you are registered to vote here. I do meet both of those requirements. But much like Charlie, I don't have any background in running a city or working in the government. I do work with the government in performing trainings and going and working under their guidelines. I have, like Charlie, I have a background that is very diverse. I have lived in other parts of the state, in the United States. I have traveled all over our country and our world, and I have done many different things in my life and have had many experiences. From a business standpoint, I am used to working with budgets, large budgets. We're talking not billions like others, but in the millions. I'm dedicated to putting everything that I have into working for our city, learning things, because just as 48 years ago, 32 years ago, when these 2 gentlemen were newcomers, there was a learning curve. They had to figure things out, which is why I've taken it upon myself to study as much as I can about not only how cities operate, but also about our ordinances and everything that's been passed up to date. So, do I have 50 years of experience? Absolutely not. Do I have will and a desire and a drive to do this? Absolutely. Do I have the mental abilities to do so? Sure. Is there going to be a learning curve? Yes, but I don't think it's going to be that long of a road for me. Thank you.
I have 32 years of political government behind me. That 32 years has been a very large learning experience for me. I've learned what works, I've learned what does not work. The combat experience I had with my greatest instructor of leadership, schooling of leadership. And I'll tell you, there's no greater leadership, in my opinion, than that of a combat leader who's in a battle and he's got young soldiers under him and people have got to do the job, and you've got to have the courage to do that job and make your job count. I've learned a lot about the city from being a postman here. I've learned the people, and that's very important in leadership. When you know the people personally, they are not just people, they are your family. And that's the way I see the people in my community. I don't know everybody here because there's some that's new, and I retired from the Postal Service 5 years ago. But once I learn who you are and you learn who I am, then we're bonded as a family. And that's the way I look at my city. The leadership that I've got has also come from coaching little kids in softball and baseball, football. And I've applied my experiences from the military leadership to the civilian realm of leadership. When I believe in something and I believe it's the right thing, I have the courage to stand up, as many of you know, and be in the corner where I think it's right. And I vote my convictions. I may be wrong, I may be right, but I always vote in what I think is going to help everybody in our community. Because that's my family, all of you.
We have several questions that pertain to youth. How do you plan to invest in the youth of the city? Do you have plans for our youth? How can you help our youth? And please include your views on the public-private partnership for the match box between the city of Apalachicola and Hill and Escobar.
Thank you. And it's going to take 2 minutes, so
Briefly.
Where I stop it, if y'all, anybody want me to finish this, can meet me in my office at any time. But anyway, yes, we have established a private-public partnership with Helen Escobar, who has incorporated a program called Kids United Together. She has spent her own personal money renovating the Apalachicola gym for use as a youth center. She has put in there TV, video games, all the things that will draw kids off of the street into a safe and positive that will be conducive to learning. I support that. I help initiate that. And part of that we are establishing now is something that I talked about 4 years ago. There's an Apalachicola Athletic Hall of Fame where all the memorabilia and sports trophies from Quinn High, from Chapman High, from Apalachicola High will be put in a museum for safekeeping, so everybody that was part of those can come and visit. And we have a collection that we got from Caribbean, and I think she was in contact with a lady in the community today. It's something that the community can be proud of, not just the youth, but the community at large. And it's happening at the Youth Center in Apalachicola.
I'm sorry, could you please repeat that 6-part question?
Specifically ask what your plans are to invest in the youth of our community and help them grow, and if you would incorporate into that your views on the public-private partnership for the match box between the city and Hill and Escobar.
Well, I think the latter of that question was addressed by Mayor Van Johnson. In terms of investing in the youth, I love the gym. It's actually right across the street from our house. I love how it's been renovated, and I think that it's great. But I think that's also just a beginning point. I would love to see something along the lines of a YMCA set up here for everybody. And we can add on to what's already been done. I mean, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But we could add on, we could have a pool. How sad is it that we're a coastal community, but a lot of people here don't even know how to swim. We could utilize the existing fields over there. You have soccer fields, football fields. You need activities for the youth. And we can establish this. It may not be an actual YMCA, but it can be something along those lines. I would also personally like to see Boy Scouting over here in Apalachicola. I know Mr. Larry Hale does this on St. George Island. I've known him since actually I was a little boy. I would like to see Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, Girl Scouts. I would like to see these youth activities as well as 4-H brought in here. And I've also spoken to one of our officers who is talking about trying to develop a firing range for the police department. And I told him that if you involve the youth and have hunter safety trainings and have trainings for the children to learn how to be around these firearms safely and efficiently, and maybe have archery skills and other things taught as well, that it would be beneficial for everybody, because when it comes to that arena, safety is first. There are a lot of different ways that we can invest in our youth. Some of them really just take some quality individuals who volunteer their time. Lord knows I've done this in my 32 years as a scout and scout leader. This is something that we need to bring in here to affect all the residents here. Thank you.
As far as our youth goes, most of our programs, they succeed from volunteers and people who are willing to sacrifice their time for these children. I echo the thoughts of our mayor on this gym. It's a great thing, and the lady, Helen Escobar, she's donated a lot of her own time. She sacrificed her own funding to make this a success. In 1988, the little girls had no softball program here. I had to come up with a way to fund a program. Now, I have two brothers, no sisters. And those two brothers and myself never had sons. We all had daughters. And my daughters, all three of them were athletic. So we had to stop them from playing baseball because we wanted to build them their own league. With Ms. Burnell Martinez's help, I came up with a program, the Little Girl Softball Program, and who funded it was the city's businesses. Mike Willis, Lee McLemore were very big on it, and they were the biggest donators. But I only asked for $50 from each business. And you know, they were willing to do it and were glad to do it. And the Little Girls program today is still going. It's a success. I coached it for 22 years. And for you ladies out there, those little girls are just as competitive as those little boys are, if not more so. Their feelings get hurt a little quicker, but their successes on that field was tremendous. I was very proud of them. And today, when I go into a grocery store or something, and I hear a young lady say, "Hey, Coach, how's it going?" I know these little kids. I mean, they're not kids anymore. Now they've got kids. But I know all these children. It was such a pleasure to be a part of their lives. And I think coaching is a great thing for our volunteers to do. I mean, I really admire people's sacrifice.
Having coached both boys and girls, give me the girls anytime. I think the youth activities that we have in this town are obviously limited by the size of the town and the number of volunteers. But obviously after-school programs, such as things during the summer like Project Impact, are critical. But again, I echo some of the comments here. It depends on volunteers. I don't think there's an easy answer, but the city has to keep a very bright spotlight on youth activity and how to keep youth engaged. But it's got to do it in partnership with the schools. I mean, if you're looking for a magic bullet, I don't think there is one, but I mean, if you have community centers, whether it's a YMCA or a community swimming pool, where people are attracted and come to all the time for large periods of the school year, I think that would be a positive. But again, you have to find the funding, you have to find the volunteers to do that, but I think the city has to keep that as one of its major priorities. As far as the Matchbox issue, I have to acquiesce to the incumbents, I really don't know very much about it. So as I told you before, there's some things I really don't have many facts on. So Commissioner Elliott and the mayor know more about that than I do.
Questions again regarding the need for affordable and first-time homes in the city of Apalachicola. Please share your views and how you would assist with low-income housing, not just on the north side of 98, but for all of Apalachicola. Please share your plans on affordable housing and first-time home buying.
Well, obviously, I am in favor of affordable housing, but I'm in favor of what we truly need here, which is affordable single-family homes, not another apartment complex or another project. We need to utilize a lot of the land that we have. We have this wonderful land trust here that we could tap into. There's been a great presentation here lately about rehabbing 4 existing homes. We need to utilize all of our resources so that people have an opportunity to purchase a home. I know we have the SHIP program here. My stepdaughter Isabel utilized that to buy her first home, and it was great. You know, and here she is at 22 in her first house. Now, obviously, this is going to sound like a bit of a broken record here. To be able to do these things, you need to have money, which means you need to have jobs, which means you need to have industry. You need to have this money that individuals can access to be able to purchase homes. They also need to know where they can go to. The SHIP program is not known to everybody. There are other groups out there that also give money to first-time homeowners. And we need to work on this across the board, across the highway. We need to utilize any land we have. I mean, apparently the city owns a lot of property, including waterfront property, and that's great. But we need to utilize some of this for our citizens instead of safeguarding it for down the road, and we need to do so in a way that is in accordance with our land comprehension plan. Thank you.
Affordable housing is very much needed here. And the project on 8th Street that I looked at yesterday, these are little shotgun type houses, and I've seen them restored before. And they make beautiful little homes. And we have a couple here that's engaged right now trying to get the funding that they can restore these homes. And affordable housing for kids today is a lot harder than when we were growing up. I mean, my father and I built my house for $27,000. You can't do that today. It takes a lot of money to build a house today. And I've helped my children get the homes that they've got, and they've all paid for them themselves. I just helped them along as far as the paperwork, but they're paying for their homes themselves, and they've all graduated from Florida State. My youngest daughter just graduated, but she hasn't found a high-paying job yet. She's working 3 jobs right now to make ends meet in Tallahassee, and she's making the payments every month on time. But there are places in our surrounding areas that I think affordable housing would be better served. And it's on the outskirts. I've seen different parcels of land, and I would love for developers to come in on these parcels and put nice homes there. Because there are about 50 families that need homes right now in Apalachicola. And I'm all for helping. I'm all for the city helping get these homes.
Part of any town as it becomes more successful, unfortunately, the housing stock becomes more expensive. If you've been in most places, you live outside the core where you can afford it, and as time goes by, that core gets stretched out further and further because of escalation of housing prices. I think we have a unique opportunity here in that there's probably a minimum, in my count, 20 plus abandoned properties, where you can work with private-public partnerships, where the land, such as the Florida Land Trust, where they will buy the land, you have to seed the pool, and therefore they keep much of the appreciation of the house, so it continues to keep a low price. And it's only the cost of the house the buyer is buying, not the cost of the land. Also, there are things like interest rate subsidies and things like that. Those are not large projects, but they fill out the city and therefore give opportunities to people who are professionals, who are firemen, policemen, teachers, the working class, to have the ability to live in Apalachicola. I think to Commissioner Elliott's point, there are a number of opportunities west of the city line where the tracts are much larger, where more multifamily housing that could be affordable can go in. But that depends, again, on cooperation with the county and with developers who are willing to see that as a viable way for them to invest in our county. There is no one specific answer. You have to do this on many, many, many fronts, and it's small steps at a time. There is not a magic bullet that will go ahead and make affordable housing instantaneously available to everyone who wants it. But we have to establish this as a priority and continue to push on all fronts in cooperation with others to try to get it done. Thank you.
Yes, after the city commission voted down the Denton Cove housing project, two people, and I don't want to single them out, but would you just raise your hand? These two people came in my office with a proposal, and that proposal was to renovate 4 houses on the hill that's occupied by people who need those homes, to renovate them and to sell them so these people can be first-time homeowners. I think that was part of the question. But that's just the start of it. This program can be the start of renovating other houses, other rundown within the city. And I mean, it's a very good proposal. I think that everybody in the community really should get these couple, because grassroots effort, just like the partnership we have with Helen Escobar to run the gym. We can partner with these people, give them our support to provide affordable housing. This community needs to get behind them. We're going to be talking about it more at a commission meeting, and I think everybody serious about affordable housing need to be to that meeting and give their support.
We have questioning before we'll start our wrap up, and I have so many questions. I'm going to try to combine as many as I can and get you the questions that I have more on that subject regarding. This first question will go to Mr. Elliott, and the question is, I have several questions regarding water quality, BP funding that has to do with water, making water a priority, and expediting the availability of reclaimed water for use by private residents. Back to water, if you want to share some thoughts on water quality, the installation and equipment that's going to be, the BP funding, how it's going to be used in that phase of water quality and the water project. Water seems to be a topic of great concern tonight. So I'm combining all of those, Commissioner Elliott, if you will just give us briefly your plans and your thoughts regarding water quality and the priority of clean water.
As we said before, we have the mechanical device to help clear up the water and make it better quality. We just didn't have the money before to crank this thing up to make it work. With the BP money, that's one of my first priorities, and I hope that the rest of the commission, and I'm sure it is, that that's a priority, is getting the water of your community as good a quality as you can possibly get it. Now, I grew up here in Apalachicola. I can guarantee you, has always had bad water. My mother, she's 90 years old. My uncle died last year at 102, and they drank the water, so it's not killing everybody. But we can improve it. And that's one of the first things that I would like to do, is get the water quality up. And I think we've got the funding now to do it and make a big difference in our community and make a lot of people happy.
I think everyone would agree that water quality is critical, and with the new funds we've got from BP, they can put it in place, put the new equipment in place, and meet the state standards. But in addition to that, we need about a 10-year plan, and what will it take to maintain those standards and also to improve them before we start allocating other BP money. Because I'll guarantee you, regardless of whether you like the water or not, when it meets standards or not, standards are going to change and standards are going to get tougher as time goes by. And you might find yourself in the exact same place 4 years from now on another particular part of the water quality where you flunked the state test. So you need to look ahead. I would do one secondary thing, which is related to the water in a way, but it's a sewer system. I would do the exact same thing. You need a 10-year look ahead with the sewer system before you do anything with the BP money to anticipate where we're headed with municipalities around the country who use a gravity-fed sewer system. That means we are incredibly smart, or that it's incredibly expensive, or there's something about it that other communities didn't want to adopt it, which scares me to death. And I'd want to know what that looks like for the future. Thank you.
And I don't want to rebut nobody, but we're actually on a vacuum system, not a gravity. But anyway, water, when I first took office, and most of you have been here a long time all your life, you realize that 10, 12 years ago or longer, the water was coming out of your tap was so discolored that it looked like iced tea. I mean, how many of y'all can remember that? All right, so you had a responsive city commission that we obtained a grant, we dug new wells, put in new distribution lines, and a new water treatment plant to treat that water. Well, the federal government came back and upped the standards. So we failed to meet those standards, so it's not that the water is bad, it's the disinfectant that we include to disinfect the water when it mixes with the natural components of the water, create this gas that causes us to flunk. So we are planning on putting in a carbon filter to filter out those gases. And once we do that, then the water will be free of the trimethylene that we keep getting in trouble with the state and federal government over. So yes, the BP money is one of the things that we talked about at the city commission meeting or the budget workshop Tuesday, was used in that, to prioritize that, use that, to buy that filter. We don't have it in stock. We need to buy it, but we're already committed for it because we conducted a pilot study about 4 months ago, and it's indicated that that was the best way to go to rid the water of the trimethylene. I need more than 2 minutes, people.
When it comes to the water, I don't know how it was 12 years ago. I can tell you how it was on the island, and I drank it, and I haven't gotten cancer, and I'm still here, and all is well. All I can tell you is that my wife told me, we don't drink the water here, and I said, yes, dear. So with all the kids, and especially in the summer, I'm going to the IGA and I'm spending $20 to get 6 cases of water every 4 or 5 days. And I'm paying the city of Apalachicola for water. I'm paying double. Now, the water is something that we all agree upon. It needs to be fixed. Do we need to utilize the BP funds to fix it? Absolutely. Is there a reason why it has taken 12 years to get to this point? I haven't the foggiest, because I know that there are grants out there. I know the people to contact for this, myself, besides what I've heard from others. In fact, one of my assistant instructors works for the Northwest Water Management, and he's told me exactly how this can be done and which grants to apply for. So I really do not know why this is still an issue. But I do hope and pray that these funds will be allocated, some of these funds will be allocated to fix the water. And that we need to understand and expect the fact that standards always rise. And that's a good thing. I mean, standards across the boards for everything and everyone that we do, everyone and everything that we do. Standards are going to rise. And as Charlie was saying, although I hate to use this phrase echoing, because I keep hearing echoes of both of these political debates, I'm going to echo what Charlie said, and that we need to expect and we need to plan for these standards to rise, and what we might need to do down the road to make sure that our water remains safe once we can get it to that point.
In lieu of time, I will, at the end, give you the questions that I was unable to ask. This question I'm going to ask 2 more. This question may be more appropriate for the incumbents, but how does the city determine its surplus property Has the list been disseminated to the citizens, and how are these properties offered for sale? And Mr. Tinsley, you are first on this one.
I don't specifically know how they offer or make people aware of the surplus properties. I know if you're a curious citizen, you can go find out. I don't know where, but it's not hidden, it's not secretive, but it's not, I don't think, blasted all over. There was at the last city commission meeting, there was a list of some properties I think that Betty Webb brought up. So it's something, if you're curious, you can go find out. But that's one of the things that you're talking about with the city. Can you make that, some of that property, not the working waterfront, but some other parts of the property, can you make them tax-paying properties? Can you give them sell them to private ownership, whoever they may be, and they start paying property taxes? B, can you use them as feeder stock for affordable housing? So that's one of the things you want to make sure that you've got an efficient use of public-owned property, and that which is truly surplus, you need to find ways to convert it to private property. And given the demand right now for affordable housing, I think that's one of the alternatives to getting that jump started.
Right, that determination is made by the city commission as to what properties are surplus, what properties to put for sale or put up for sale. And we just recently did that. We was looking at several pieces of property that we could sell to generate money that we can come in and renovate our playground equipment. To renovate the playground over here at the recreation center, the one downtown and at Lafayette Park. And so Betty did report those numbers to us at the budget workshop. But that's how it's determined. I don't think we just have a list that says surplus property. The city has to determine that, whether it's an old vehicle, whether it's property, whether it's an old computer. The city has to determine that, get off the inventory, and then offer for sale either in a bidding process. Yes, it's public knowledge and public. All you have to do is, if staff will not readily provide that information, as a public records request, and all they have to do is.
The candidates will remain for just a few minutes after the forum.
And I do have
Mayor
office
Johnson has
hours.
office hours, and I think they've all provided contact information. Brother White, if you would like to answer.
Well, I would love to see this list too. And I believe if I go down to City Hall, I fill out a request, and I pay the fees for the copies, I can receive that. All right, this has been true for a lot of the information I've requested, as I have done so, especially over the last 4 or 5 months. We need to have access to these things. This goes back to transparency. People want to know what we have. People want to know what we spend. People want to know what we're doing. It was so amazing to me the other night to learn that we are venturing into this business plan of mullet caviar. Wow, who knew? I mean, that's amazing. When it comes to anything with our government, from our land to our finances to our actions, we need to remember that the sunshine laws exist, and they're in place to protect us, all of us. And if you have questions, you need to get them answered. Can we have a list of all these properties specifically on our website, on the city's website? Sure, why not? If we want to sell these properties as a city, then they need to go up to bid. As Mayor Sandy House talked about how he purchased property from the city years ago. There's proper policies and procedures to follow, and we need to do so. But I agree with you, ma'am. I'd like more information, and sometimes it seems a little tedious when you're asking for it. Thank you.
Land. My father once said, buy as much of it as you can because they don't make it anymore. And that's the way we look at it with the city. Our land is very valuable because it is your land that we're dealing with. Every citizen in this city, that land belongs to them. And I've been very fortunate to be on commissions that have looked very closely about selling the land and what we do have. One thing I'm very proud of that we did, and we was in agreement with the state, was buying waterfront properties to keep condos from coming in here and building. I don't think condos would be a nice thing for this city to have. And so with the commissions that I've served with the past, we went in with the state to get the funding to buy as much of the waterfront property as we could get. But as far as the list of properties we've had, yes, we've been at the city meetings and we've discussed some of these properties to get funding. But like I said, we've got to be very careful about what we sell. This is your property. This property belongs to everyone in the city. So we've got to be very careful how we plot it up and how we sell it. We've got to be very careful about the funds that we get from it and how we use those funds.
Go into our 3-minute wrap-up. Candidate will have an opportunity to give final remarks in 3 minutes. I will just give you topics of the questions that I was unable to get to, and if you would like for me to provide them to you afterwards, I certainly will. There are several questions regarding industry, specifically how will you attract industry and what will you do to get it here, what types of industry you will get here, if there's any plan to revitalize the industry on the riverfront, your views of the city extending the city limits westward and further developing the commercial center there, briefly providing a picture of your first 100 days, what you feel is the biggest problem facing Apalachicola, traffic enforcement, specifically moving violations like speeding and running stop signs. Do you feel that this is a problem and what is your solution? There's also a question regarding the sewer use fee and if the BP money will deter that in any way from the residents who are already hurting for money and jobs. Also, the city's designation as a tree city community, your feelings on that, and any plans to support the city's after-school program, Project Impact, to be sure that it continues to serve the community. These are the topics that I was unable to get to. At this time, we're going to ask our president to return as you prepare your 3-minute final remarks. We thank you for coming, and please remain following the forum for questions from the audience.
We will have final questions, final wrap-up, beginning with our father, Kenzel, and looking way down here. 3 minutes, please.
Thank you for the honor of letting me go first. And to all of those who did get their questions answered, obviously we'll be available for more questions, and how you can possibly put those in a summary, I would be hard-pressed to figure out. So I think what I'll do is basically tell you again why I'm here. Tonight I've tried to give you some ideas about how I think, what priorities are, how I decide things, how I get information, how processes work, what kind of experience I've had, what kind of experience I would bring. All of those things are things that I bring with me and my experiences in my lifetime. And that's one of the reasons I'm going around trying to meet you all personally. You have to feel that and touch that. Having my emissaries or my people come around and meet and talk to you isn't going to help. You really have to get comfortable with me. And I am running not because, again, I won titles. I'm 64 years old. I don't need to run for the county city commission because I think it's something that's wonderful for me personally. I think I can actually add something. Again, 1 of 5 people on the city commission, 80 plus years of incumbency. Commissioner Elliott hasn't had an opponent since the year 2000 or before, and over half of the voters today have registered since the year 2000. They have a chance to even comment on whether he was a good choice or not. Did I jump in this race saying, Commissioner Elliott is a terrible commissioner, I've got to throw him out, it's my objective? No, he has not had a challenge. People haven't had a choice, and I want to give them a clear choice. And I think I add diversity to that board, and experience and skills that they could use, that the city could use, that I'm willing to obviously step forward and contribute. This is my home. We chose to come here. We're dedicated to being here. We've done several things, just not somebody dropped from the sky and said, let me run for office. So I want you to get some comfort with me, and that's why I presented things the way I did tonight. I have no prescribed agenda of yeses and nos other than, one, you've got to keep the integrity of the city. The fabric of the city has to stay in place. Social, environmental, economically. Two, you have to have responsible economic development. I've had experience in that. But it's a balance. It doesn't happen overnight, and you can't do certain things without destroying the fabric of the city. And three, you have to make sure the quality of life is maintained. And I again say to you, if you want to talk about the first 100 days, is I hope I would be doing two things. I would get clear questions answered about what are the major infrastructure issues in the city, and hopefully from that the direction to go. And two, begin working on cooperative efforts with the county and others for economic development and other things such as affordable housing. Working together, different skill sets, asking the right questions, getting the right information, and helping the other four members make better decisions.
Thank you. Mr. Elliott?
Thank you. As you know, I've had 32 years of experience, and some of my friends and relatives think I'm crazy for keep doing this job. Well, if loving your community is crazy, then you might as well call the institution and check me in. But I do it because I do love my community, and I love the people in it. Like I said, being a mailman for almost 40 years allowed me the knowledge of knowing the people personally, knowing their families. I also know the county commissioners pretty well. I get along with people, and a lot of people that know me know the reason why I haven't had an opponent in 12 years. I've only had 4 opponents in 32 years because they know me, they know my heart, they know what I stand for. And they know that if I think they're right on an issue, I'll stand by them all the way. And if we sink, I go down with them. But I vote my convictions. You'll notice no signs of mine on the highways or in yards or anything because in 32 years I've never put a sign out. I had one lady the other day who said, "Thank you very much," whatever she meant by that. I've never taken any campaign donations, although I've been offered campaign donations. But not taking a campaign donation means I'm not obligated or I have the feeling of being obligated to anyone. I've never been associated with any businesses. I've been solitary in the way I run things. I do it from my heart and what's good for my community. Yes, I know there's been plenty of people come forward with lots of skills before, and they get frustrated after 4 years and they won't put up with it anymore, and they don't run for re-election. Like I said, you can't have thin skin and be in this job. We've been insulted. We've had people mad at us. I've had family members mad at us. But when I'm in this office, I do things on what's best for the people of this community. I put them first over the needs of friends, family. They understand that when I make decisions, these decisions are for everyone. I consider everyone in my community my family member. Like I said, I know a lot better than others. But once I learn who you are, you learn who I am, we're going to have a personal relationship and understanding. That's just about it, I guess.
Thank you, Mr. Elliott. Mr. Wynot?
Well, I've heard the same thing, Jimmy, about being crazy to do this. A lot of my friends and family are wondering, what the heck? So, as a former shrink to you, maybe we need to go commit ourselves and get some help. I'm not a politician. If I should be elected, I will still never claim that title. I don't need any more titles. I got into this with pure intentions, and that is a service to the community because I feel that we need some changes. Not change for the sake of change, but change because it is time for it. I appreciate the experiences on either side of me. There have been many, many good works that have come out of them, being in office. Every single person has a voice on the board, and every single person in the community has a voice. And I have thoroughly enjoyed going out, going door to door. Callie was very excited about me getting to meet everybody and know everybody, and I've loved it. Although I was surprised what I was hearing in different parts of the city. And I've thoroughly enjoyed Saturday and Monday and yesterday on the north side of 98 going door to door and hearing the concerns. I am not going to have all the answers. I would lie to you if I said I would. I will find answers. I will study things. I will be informed. I will represent well. I understand that we have a lot of concerns, and together we can address these, and together we can fix these. But it's not going to happen in 1 week or what, the first 100 days in office. It will take a little bit of time, but I don't think it's going to take years. I thoroughly have enjoyed my time thus far. I thank everybody for coming out tonight. I would give you the same closing I did the other night, but a lot of you are familiar faces. If I have not had the opportunity to meet you, please award me the privilege of meeting you after we conclude here. And any concerns you have, please tell me, because we cannot fix these things if we don't know what's broken. Thank you, Apalachicola. Thank you all for coming out. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson?
I have been successful in life, successful on my job, and successful as a mayor because I live by one simple rule: treat people like I want to be treated. And that's what I have done. I have served this community. My door has been open. I don't think anyone can actually say that they have called upon me and I didn't respond. Sometimes you might not like the way I respond, but I'm very responsive in the job. I have the experience. I didn't just check in last night and decide to run for mayor. I've been here for all my life, played in the playground out here, school, in this school, third grade here, so I know the community. And I treat everybody the same, fair, regardless of where you come from, how long you've been here, the color of your skin, or the gender of your sex. I treat everybody fair. And I don't think you can ask any more out of a public official or elected official than to treat everybody like you want to be treated. With that, on September 8th, no, Monday, October 31st, when early voting starts, I appreciate any consideration that you have when you go to the polls to vote for Van W. Johnson for mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. The Hillside Coalition of Labor, this great city, with candidate forums for many, many years. And we're so glad that these four men took the time out of their schedules to attend our forum. We thank you for coming out also to this forum. We want to remind you that early voting begins Monday, August 31st through Friday, September the 4th, 8:30 to 4:30 p.m. The election is Tuesday, September the 8th, from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. And for those that vote ordinarily at Precinct 3, which is the Armory, it is temporarily closed for renovation. So this site right here, the Holy Family Center, you will return for your voting. That's Precinct 3. If you have any questions, be sure to call 653-9520 with the elections office. Once again, Apalachicola thanks you. On the very back table there, we have some information that's provided by Teresa Martin, our school board representative. Take those. There's several schedules for athletic programs, as well as the flyers about school in general. We thank our candidates. We thank you. Good night.